Now I would like to bring to the podium Carmen Iezzi Mezzera, who is the Executive Director of the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs. It's a consortium of graduate schools, global. Many of them are in your council communities, and Carmen and her group, APSIA, are new partners, emerging partners of ours. We're pleased that they are helping to sponsor this conference, and I think that there will be great connections to forge with these schools, students, interns, professors, speakers, and we can do great things by networking for good together. So Carmen, thank you for being here. Welcome, and please tell us about your organization.
Enter with a bang, isn't that how it goes? No, it's end with a bang. Thank you, Bill, and thank you to all of you. As Bill said, my name is Carmen Iezzi Mezzera, and I'm the Executive Director of a group with a very long name that we call APSIA for short. And you have my bio in your book, so I'll spare you all of that. But one thing that Bill probably actually doesn't know is that my first foray into much of this sphere was through a World Affairs Council of Pittsburgh program. As a high school student, yay! As a high school student, I attended one of their week-long programs, and what I found was not only the chance to connect with a prominent individual who had survived the Khmer Rouge and who had been the inspiration for the film The Killing Fields, but more importantly for that, what I found was a community of people who were also interested and curious about the world and wanting to see positive change in the world. And for me as a high school student, that was a revelation, that there was this broader community out there. And so what I'm here to talk to you all today about is how there is similarly a broader community out there under the umbrella of my organization that would love to connect with you on a variety of levels. And it comes at a very fortuitous time in your agenda in that what I'd like to talk to you about are connections with young leaders, either those that you're seeking to build or currently have, and how we'd like to support you in that endeavor as a way to diversify your membership. Connections that we currently have on the education side. As Bill mentioned, our community is primarily graduate schools, and we have 35 around the world as members and 31 programs as affiliates. And so as you go out and seek to engage young leaders who are trying to figure out that this community and career path of international affairs exists, we are here as a resource for you. We have a full career guide on our website that's free and open that explains what a career in the public sector, the private sector, the nonprofit sector, the multilateral sector looks like on the international level. It has tips, it has suggested organizations. We have information on fellowships and scholarships to pay for school, to pay for work, to pay for travel. So as you build or seek to engage this community of young people and to explain to them that this isn't a one-off event or a one-off happy hour, that this really can be a broader life experience, life choice, for lack of a better word, we want to engage with you all and to provide you all perhaps with some of those tools. We are lucky that many of our member schools are exactly where you are. Seattle, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Ann Arbor, and many of our faculty and our scholars travel all the time. And so if you have a program, if you're seeking to engage with a particular community, we are also here as a resource for you to find those people or to make those introductions to different networks. We also are available to do a lot of online programming. We regularly do a webinar on best practices in applying to graduate school. So for those of you engaged with college students, we also have that as an opportunity, either to do a one-off and to give you something to just celebrate for your community in Peoria, to say we're doing this as a way to build our membership base or to provide a service or to draw in young leaders who may not have any idea what the World Affairs Council of Peoria is, but know that they're thinking about grad school. So we can easily make those connections. And we do all of this programming for free. Whether you do it for free or not is obviously up to you all. But we are here to be a resource for you and to give you ways to draw in those young leaders, to draw in those young professionals, to keep those college students engaged when they graduate from your undergraduate or your high school level programs. So we want to be part of that continuum that you all are building towards career paths, towards building a global-minded citizenry at all of those different stages in their career. We also, of course, are engaged with many of our career services directors at all of these schools. So if you have internships or job opportunities, we're happy to get those out, again, for free to all of our member schools who have this body of globally trained, well-minded individuals at their disposal. Most of our schools are graduate schools, but some of them also have an undergraduate component. So if you're looking for undergrads, we can at least get that information in the right direction as well. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that as you and your students travel, we, again, have a global membership. If they find themselves in Japan, if they find themselves in France or Geneva or St. Petersburg, we can engage with our member schools on the ground to give them access perhaps to peers or folks a few years older than them to provide that kind of perspective. The same thing is true on the ground in Seattle or wherever you find yourself. Our schools embrace students truly from every country on the globe. So if you're doing a program on Somalia and you have this wonderful Somali community, there's a good chance there's also a Somali student at one of our schools who can talk about their experience from a particular perspective and get in front of students in a very personal way. So I'm thankful to Bill for the time to just let you know that we are here as a resource. We want to help you touch and tap into all of these different points. We do in-person events on graduate school as well. This year we were in Boston, and Michael had a chance to come out to that particular event. We were in New York and Pittsburgh and Austin, Texas, and Dallas. So we I'm as bad as our colleague from Columbus.
That's good.
That was good. But I didn't... nothing was injured in the course of this speech. But we are here for you, and I guess our only request would be to make sure that your community knows that we're also here as a resource for them. So I will take questions if you want, but I'll be around, and our website, we have an ad in the back of your program, but it's just as simple as APSIA, the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs, .org. And so all of the things that I mentioned on our website, my contact information is there as well. And like a bad penny, I'll just keep turning up through over the next couple days. So please feel free to grab me as you like.
Thank you so much, Carmen. That mic is live. And if anybody has questions, please raise and use your broadcast voice to introduce yourself. No? Joyce, go for it. You got the broadcast.
Do you send out speakers? For example, we do at least 2 education conferences a year, and it would be a great opportunity to come and talk about. I mean, do you go out into the field, or is it just online?
We do go out into the field, and our schools also regularly provide speakers and scholars for different events. So if you had a specific request or a specific time, I obviously can't promise, but we would certainly, I will try. But we'll do our best to build a connection, and that can be on a substantive issue. So if you were looking for a speaker on Syria, we can try to make that happen. If you're looking for a speaker on grad school education, careers, admissions, any of those pieces, we can try to make that happen too. Absolutely.
How many in the group are councils that are based at universities? I know Charles is at a business school in Atlanta, Patrick, Amy Holland, Diana, Jill, Joyce, many, Harriet. So already you can speak to the fact that you have access to these speakers, but would you talk about how in councils that don't have that, what would be the best way to form a connection with a university? I know Boston programs at Northeastern and occasionally other Boston area schools.
I think overall there are 2 good ways to build a connection with the university. First is to find that great advocate. So start with an initial program, whether it is through the Career Center because you have internships or you have professional development programming for students, so they would be able to champion and make introductions to other part of that community. The second way would probably be through the Department of Political Science or International Affairs, Sociology, Language, any of those low-hanging, quick connector programs where you can say, please invite your students to this speaker that we have. So that's an easy way to build your attendance for free with very little marketing. Or if it's, hey, we see that this particular professor just wrote a book and wants to celebrate that book. Can we co-sponsor something? And we'll bring with it our mailing list and our network if you all will provide the room and the space, water and cookies, or something along those lines. So schools are often open to those types of partnerships because it gets butts in the seats, it gets students on their campus, it enables them to show the broader connections, all of the same things that you all were just talking about in terms of funders and partners and marketing. They like to see all those same connection points. Can I actually ask another question in the room? How many of you currently have young leader programs or things aimed at young professionals? Some. How many are looking to build such things? Okay. Again, that too is a great way for us. A lot of the young professionals that I talk to, either current college students or 20-somethings who are working, are asking a lot of these same questions. And so this too can be a great synergy for us to help you draw those folks in with the kind of programming that's very practical, that will get them out of the office at 5:30 or 6 o'clock to come to an event, or that they can do from their desk if it is online.
It's a much more transient world, and the young professional especially will move around. I think we need to do a better job as a network to facilitate the transfer of memberships or the honoring of each other's memberships. I would love to know, at some point, you can pigeonhole me or buttonhole me, whatever the phrase is. Send me with a carrier pigeon to Hawaii, please. But let me know what you think about that kind of transfer, because we do, frankly, a terrible job at tracking alumni or people who touch us. I can't speak for all the other councils. As an association of organizations that are built on alumni engagement, I mean, do you get to that next level of keeping track with the students, or do you just deal with the institutions?
Our primary touch point is the institution themselves, and then through them we work with the alumni relations officers, the communications staff, the career services staff. So for us as an association, it is to the staff, and then from the staff to their students and their alums. Everybody does a terrible, as a former director of alumni relations, I can tell you everyone does a terrible job. So I think this would be a great thing to work on. And as someone who's experienced that, when I was a member of the World Affairs Council of Pittsburgh and moved to DC, there was no mechanism to transition. I think particularly for young people, that would be a great opportunity as we go to college or we move to grad school or we join the Peace Corps, as a cheap plug.
Now that I know that connection, we will never let you go from the World Affairs Councils. Okay, so thank you, Carmen. She'll be here. You can ask questions of her, pigeon, button, whatever kind of. And we are going to clear the room in a couple of minutes. These remaining 3 minutes, please enjoy for networking or asking questions of me. We leave. We'll be back at 12 for lunch, and at 12:30, Dr. Maccabee will begin his presentation on developing global leadership. Thank you very much.